Oh, sorry, man. I can't make it that weekend. I'm going to see my Bibby and Chim Chim. I'd love to go, man, but it's my Geeby's birthday. Yeah, man, we're having a 40th wedding anniversary for my Pip Pip and Peeble. Yeah, I'm just trying to plan this 85th birthday party for my Gin Gin.
Hey, fun fans, it's We Enjoy. We've got some news and news for you. Let's get into it. We're the Mattitude Eric. I'm Matt Fowler. Say hello, Eric Goldman.
Hello, everybody. Happy weekend. If you're listening to this on the weekend.
But also happy weekend if you're not.
Sure.
It's evergreen. So you put up a lot of these news stories here, and most of my reactions to them, I guess maybe just most entertainment news, my reaction is okay. So anyway,
I will admit, I don't know like how deep dives we're gonna do on all of these.
I mean, the most interesting one is the first one, and the one that I'm most excited about is the last one, like list-wise, that you put. Let's start with the one I'm most excited about, which is just casting for the Lowdown season 2, because it's a show that you and I both really enjoy, and these are interesting characters, especially your best friend in the world, BFF Tommy Lee Jones.
I can't wait for him to do press for this show.
I can't wait for him to do press with Ethan Hawke, one of the most amiable like chatty like interviewers ever, or interviewees, I should say. I hope they're paired together. And I hope Tommy Lee Jones is just pissed and silent the entire time.
Pissed and silent. Yeah, I mean, I honestly put this here because I think they're pretty quiet about who these people are even playing, mostly so you and I could say, hey, everyone, watch the Lowdown. We're excited the Lowdown is
yeah,
coming.
Anytime we can just say, hey, recommend this. It's only has one season so far. You can catch it really easily. Lowdown season 2. It's not going to be out for a while. And it's going to star Hollywood's favorite curmudgeon. I hope during the press runs, he does just ask everyone, regardless of their merch or swag, if they work for National Geographic. And like,
have you at any time worked for National Geographic?
Also, is he just going to be playing Ethan Hawke's dad? Like, what do you think? I mean, because again, yeah, they didn't say who. The other person who is in the cast is Betty Gilpin,
yes,
who we love from Glow and a Lot of Things.
Yes, she is great. So two great actors, but it's, right now they're being very quiet on the season 2 storyline. Even like the deadline story about this just talked about what happened in season 1. Given the nature of the show, we assume there'll be a new big central thing, that these characters will be swirling around.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to call. Yeah, I mean, it could be. You could call it a mystery of the season. He's a journalist, citizen journalist. So we'll see how that all works out. But yeah, this is really cool casting for a really good show that I'm just. And
that's one of the things that happens with a really cool show, like it kind of happened with The Bear a bit, right? Like, which is like once something has a great first season and there's a lot of buzz around it, then it's like you start piling in some cool cats for season 2 and 3 and stuff like that.
Cats.
Betty Gilpin was just in Struck by Lightning, which I recommended, and I still do. She played Mrs. Garfield, and boy, did she hate Mondays, because that's when her husband, the president, was assassinated.
Can Betty Gilpin and Rhea Seehorn play sisters, please? I think that'd be a thing.
Sure. I mean, why can't she join Pluribus season 2? You know what I mean?
Yeah, not another Pluribus.
Yeah. Pluribus TOO. Yeah.
Oh shit.
So yeah, that's the Lowdown.
That's
you
Lowdown.
just added something. You just added something.
I did.
Okay, here we go. Bradley Cooper. I'm just reading what you wrote because I don't have the news story in front of me. Bradley Cooper directing, interesting, and starring, sure, because he does that with his movies, in Ocean's prequel, which I think we've talked about.
Been in development for quite a while.
With Margot Robbie. Will this be the movie that breaks Margot Robbie out of her mini slump, post Barbie slump? We shall see.
Well, I mean, Wuthering Heights opened, decent for the type of movie.
Wopened? It did wopen. Wuthering wopened wooge. Yeah.
And I actually think, it did okay for what it is. That type of movie. But yeah, they've been developing this Barbie Barbie. I said Barbie. Ocean's prequel for quite a while. It was going to be her and Ryan Gosling for a while. They're supposed to play Danny Ocean's parents. And it's like set in the 60s, obviously kind of a throwback to the original Rat Pack Ocean's 11 conceptually. But Gosling dropped out a while ago, and then it just lost its director which was going to be Lee Isaac Chung, who's taken the funny, the Minari to studio IP because he did
Yes,
Twisters,
yeah.
and he was going to do this. He dropped out of this recently, but now they kind of a 2-for-1 by getting Bradley Cooper to both take over the male lead they needed to fill, and by taking over as director.
Can they undo the Danny Ocean death? They're gonna have to.
I know.
Well, I mean, because also isn't Clooney doing another Oceans? Isn't that the other thing we may have talked about?
Simultaneously, we're going Ocean's Crazy, and
we're doing a Heat 2 here, the before and after of the actual Oceans movies.
Yes. But yeah, so this would be a good fun pairing, I think. Did you see, it seems like very little people saw, but did you see, is this thing on?
No, I didn't see it.
It's good. That was the last movie.
That's what I heard. I heard it was just pretty. It was okay.
It was a good.
It wasn't like Will Arnett's a revelation. I would have gone and seen it, but yeah. So
it was good. The only thing what made me laugh was that Bradley Cooper gave Will Arnett's character Bradley Cooper hair. But it was good. It was funny because Cooper is in that. It's just the first time that he was a supporting role. Yeah, he was not one of the leads in that. This obviously would be the lead. It would also be a different type of movie because it would be IP and something that is a little more fast and loose. But I think that he has proven himself as a director now multiple times. He and Margot Robbie are two pretty people we'd enjoy watching together, being pretty. So
maybe it's too much. Maybe it's too much pretty, and I won't like. And I won't enjoy it.
That is true.
I want to take back, the Wuthering Heights thing, which is it made like a tidy enough profit, which is it's 80 million budget and earned like over like 215 million.
Yeah.
So,
See.
And you know what? Here's the thing. We may be talking later in the episode about another woman-directed, written, polarizing project that also cost 80 million and is not going to make anywhere near 215 million dollars. So. But yeah, I think I was just, overtaken by the internet discourse about this, which is like, people were like either bashing it or loving it, or I don't know what they were doing about it. I don't know what the consensus was, absolutely, but it seemed to do okay. I was thinking of the Big Bold Beautiful. She's only been in this and one other movie since Barbie, and the other one was the Big Bold Beautiful Journey.
Yeah, and that was an outright bomb
with Colin Farrell.
That was too much pretty people, apparently.
Yeah, see, it can backfire. You don't want that.
Right. Give her an Uggo co-star.
Speaking of Uggo co-stars, Kate Winslet is about to star next to Gollum, Eric, in Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. She has been cast as the lead in this movie that takes place between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, and directed by Andy Serkis. But no details, like Lowdown, no details on who she's playing or anything about the character. So
yes,
it could be an elf. She could be a dwarf. I would love it if she was a dwarf.
She's coming off playing a Na'vi, so she's in her weird creature phase. So who knows?
Yeah.
Adore Kate Winslet. I'm not a Rings head like you are, Matt. Although I do know that even within the Rings fandom, there's a lot of worry feelings about this project. Do we need it?
This is an IP cash grab. There's people can, I think, recognize authentic projects and projects where it's like, let's just make shit. Let's just, we realize that you have to keep making shit to keep the stuff in the public.
Or I think in the case of Warner Brothers keeping the rights, I think.
That public consciousness rights, you have to you can't just let it sit dormant, right? You have to do something with it. So
yes. It's funny though, because I adore Kate Winslet. And it's funny that Deadline did say that basically Andy Serkis and Peter Jackson, who's, going to be a producer on this, spent the past year coaxing Winslet to appear in the film, which is also funny. Like, please, Kate. But also it's funny because we've covered on this podcast one of my favorite movies, Heavenly Creatures. And so it is funny that it's like, oh, Peter Jackson is finally reuniting with Kate Winslet, kind of, sort of, as a producer.
Oh, can Melanie Linsky be in the movie too? Like,
hey, I'm for it. Let's do it. But yes, it is funny that this is finally their reunion in a weird Gollum.
You can go way back a couple years, hear us talk about Heavenly Creatures when we were doing our Folie du Lovers on the Run, or just sort of like Mad Couples run that we did. Okay, here's another one. This means nothing to me because Family Guy never meant anything to me, really. Mm-hmm. Like, I've enjoyed clips I've seen. I don't think I ever sat down root to snoot watching a full episode, but Stewie, I've seen the merch. Is
You're,
getting.
you're aware of his existence.
I'm aware of this football-headed shaped child. Is getting a Family Guy spinoff for Disney Hulu. It'll be on Disney Plus, but
Well,
it's
no, but it'll also be on Fox. It
okay.
is,
Fox
yeah.
aired, then Disney Plus streaming series that gets a 2-season pickup for a Stewie spinoff series.
Yes.
So
To me, this is. I mean, yeah, I don't watch Family Guy. I mean, I watched early Family Guy. I wasn't ever a religious viewer, but I've certainly saw my fair share of Family Guy early on. It's
didn't
just
we get Family Guy boxers? What was that? What was the only merch we got that was actually underwear? Was it Family Guy?
Beavis and Butthead definitely got
Maybe
boxers.
that was.
Its
Maybe that was
first
it.
revival. I remember
Yeah.
getting boxers for. But you just reminded me of that, as you said. That's funny. Anyway, it is just amazing to me, that Family Guy still going, Seth MacFarlane amazingly rich, but also it just made me laugh because Stewie is getting a spin off of Family Guy, but they're not taking Stewie off Family Guy, of course not. So to me, it's just this. You might as well say Bart Simpson getting Simpsons spin off. Like, it's so funny to me. Yes, it would be one thing if the show was ending, if Family Guy ended, and they're like, "Now
No,
we're
no.
doing
This is
Stewie."
like when there were like several X-Men and Spider-Man titles at the same time when they were at the height of the late 80s, early 90s.
Or
Like,
or Wolverine is a good example because it's like he needs to be in everything. Give him his own title, but he's also
yeah.
an X-Men. So it's just, to me, that was the funniest thing to me. Or even put in live action terms, like Urkel, like while Family Matters was still going, just to take this character that is the most
Well,
popular part of your
what
show.
was going on in his house, Eric? Like when he was always over at the Winslows, but he did have to go home. So
This will be set at his new preschool, after he gets kicked out of his old one. And yeah, but it
Urkel's
is.
home life is just some depraved Herbert Selby sort of like Last Exit to Brooklyn Requiem for a Dream style story of like drug abuse and neglect. Uh,
Also, a weird reminder that Family Guy, all the Fox animation domination, Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, which got brought back to Fox, and Bob's Burgers, all are now owned by Disney, produced by 20th Century TV, but still licensed to Fox. And they did that huge renewal of the deal where all those shows got 4-season renewals up through like, 2029. And I guess this is now kind of being put into that deal. It's a 2-season order, but also through 2029. And everyone will wait to see if they'll re-up both to renew all these shows, but also to continue putting Fox shows on Hulu. Because again, there's no more corporate connection to make that an automatic. It's just they still are doing like a licensing deal. Although, again, in the long term, Disney freaking owns Family Guy. Just the strange path these shows have taken over the years.
well,
Uh,
since you're talking about studios, let's move on to the first thing you wrote
mhm.
here, which is that Universal, notorious for a 17-day window, which started during the heights of COVID, of theatrical releases that that opened less than 50 million.
Yes, it wasn't for all movies, but
Yeah,
basically they decided if you're not a big enough hit right away, we are sending
yeah,
you to.
17-day theatrical window for its movies, very, very notoriously short, just 2 weeks. Is going to expand its exclusive theatrical window to, what is it, 6 weeks? What did I
I
write?
believe it's 5 weeks starting this year, and then I think it might up in 2017, 2027. Oh no, it'll be 45 days, 7 weekends.
45 days,
Yeah,
yes, there
for
we go. So
2027
two and a
movies.
half, no, yeah, a month and a half, whatever. So anyway,
Mhm.
that's cool news, because give things time to sit in the theater for a while.
It is very good news, and especially obviously there's so much back and forth about all this, and as we're waiting to see when it looked like Netflix was going to get Warner Brothers, that was a big concern. Um, all the studios, there was the decisions they made in the moment of COVID, many of them very rash, that ended up kind of biting them in the ass in the long term. And Universal had been the most stubborn about COVID decisions. And one was this 17-day theatrical window for movies that didn't open as strong. The other was that they were still doing some day and date as late as Five Nights at Freddy's 1 and the latest Halloween movies, and there was that J Lo movie. They were still doing some day and date, and that was still like kind of getting a lot of pushback. So it does seem interesting, but cool that they're deciding. Okay, no, we are going to actually go back to this a longer theatrical exclusive window. It doesn't include Focus. So Focus is their indie, wing. That stuff might still be coming on digital a lot quicker. But I am happy about this.
All right. Last story this made me think about what I actually get excited about. So Arnold Schwarzenegger is saying that it's been announced that he's making a new Conan movie.
Well, he did a convention appearance and said all this, and then the Conan one is the one the trades said there is, something going on with.
Because it's one of these things where it's like when you hear about these old stars reclaiming like an old property or something like that, I get excited when I hear who's attached to it. So it's like when you hear that Christopher McQuarrie is helmed to write and direct King Conan, then I'm more excited that Schwarzenegger's back. Because it's that side of the equation I'm excited about, not the Schwarzenegger part. Because I could have heard that McQuarrie was doing a King Conan movie and be excited about it. Like, who's Conan, right? Who's going to be, right? Schwarzenegger is just like, okay, now Schwarzenegger could possibly be in a good movie, which is to say he hasn't been in a long, long time. So it's the same thing with like Blade Runner, where it's like, who's directing it? Who's doing it? So when you also write here that he could also maybe also a Commando or Predator movie, well, who's doing it? So if he's going to team with Trachtenberg, I'm excited. It's not the Arnold part of it, but we've talked about this on our Predator run that they were setting something up for, obviously for Dutch to come back with the past couple movies. So Danny Glover, I'm not sure, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah. So he's making a King Conan movie, or at least there's traction here.
Yeah, it's funny because he did a convention appearance and he talked about all these different things. Predator being the one that I think we already kind of understood is a possibility and seems like the most likely to happen because they're making Predator movies right now, and it would be easy to bring him back in a supporting role. Didn't have to be I don't see a world where he is the lead, but he could be part of an ensemble. If you wanted to bring back multiple people from different movies, put him in there, give him a cool couple moments. And it seems like that's likely, something that is definitely likely. The other two, okay, there's no way on earth there's going to be a new Commando movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, but also, who cares about that? Like, Commando was a silly 80s action movie, but like, there's no deep fandom for the lore of Commando.
Yes.
And unless they get Alyssa Milano back, then I'm in. But
but that's the thing is like we're hitting this point. There's all this talk about hey, we've drained the well on 80s stuff and it doesn't mean anything to kids today, which is all viable. It's just that nothing is one-to-one, and so you put out a new Indiana Jones movie and it's like, hey, do young people care about Harrison Ford playing Indiana Jones? And it's like, well, not really. I mean, that movie made like 400 or 500 million, so wasn't like nobody went to see it, but it was still a financial bomb given the cost. But then Top Gun Maverick makes $1 zillion, so there's no like one truth, but I think there is a truth to the fact that a lot of these things won't have meaning, and certainly Arnold Schwarzenegger in Commando, that's just for us olds.
What if he kills the son of the guy he killed in the first movie? So he's like, remember when I told your father I'd kill him last, and I lied again, and then he kills him. Yeah.
Now I'm after your bloodline. Now
I can't stop lying.
Conan's an interesting one only because the role that kind of made him a movie star. Terminator obviously exploded it, but the first time he was the lead in a fictional movie, not counting Pumping Iron, but King Conan is a project that they've been trying to do for 25 years. Like before legacy sequels were all the rage, there was the talk of Arnold coming back to do this new Conan movie about an older Conan. And it was always like a cool idea. The main thing here is that Arnold wasn't pushing 80, 25 years ago. And so it feels to me like the window to do this probably passed. Certainly the window to do this with a more physical Arnold definitely passed. And I'm very wary of it. And also I think the more excitement about it would have been there 25 years ago. So I think this is a long shot, and I'm also very wary of it, even though Christopher McQuarrie is awesome. It's just that
I would think it'd be cool if it was, I think the version of this movie I'd want to see is something akin to the movie that's coming out. The Sonorsky movie, the Death of Robin Hood.
Yes.
Which is like a smaller, right? Like the Unforgiven element of these literary or myths, right? Literary heroes or myths or something like that, where it's not doesn't look like a large scale lavish CGI heavy production or something, you know.
Right. Because there was a script for King Conan's movie like 2001, 2002 by John Milius, who wrote Conan the Barbarian, acclaimed writer, acclaimed crazy person. And people said it was really good. But I'm sure that script would have been very different than what they even would do today, because again, Arnold in 2001 is not Arnold in 2026. You have to reconceive around his age, which Arnold has acknowledged. He said that the movie would address his age. It has to. It's just funny to think like, okay, this is an old Conan. This is not a past his prime Conan. This is like a real old man Conan. So I'm not saying I don't want this to happen, but I also am like, man, it would have been, I think it could have been awesome 25 years ago. I'm wary now, curious. I also think, again, there's no way Commando's happening. Predator with Arnold, I think, is likely, but this is one I'm not holding my breath on this actually happening, but we'll see.
We will see. That's one thing I know is we will see. Let's get into some Youse here, some write-ins. One that just missed the wire last week because we recorded on Thursday and it came in like Thursday evening. So is a couple from Tim, and you can write in at weenjoypodcast.com. Sorry, weenjoypodcast@gmail.com, or just hit us up on Patreon. So a lot of these are also pulled from Patreon comments. So this both are from Tim, and he's adding more tidbits to the Bond movies we've been doing. So I'll go back to Thunderball, which he said that the Fleming book is actually less problematic than the movie in the spa stuff, because Bond only flirts with the nurse and then asks her out, and then they have a fully consensual hookup rather than him blackmailing her into sex.
That is better.
During the Junkanoo parade, there's a dog that's peeing on the ground that they kept in because the producers thought was funny. And then
the dog pissing stays in the picture.
Yeah, the kid stays. Diane Hartford, who plays the woman Bond briefly dances with when he's running from Fiona, she also has a cameo as a card player in Casino Royale. We just talked about that in You Only Live Twice, which is like some of these actresses come back.
Yes.
Casino Royale had some Easter egg casting. And since you guys brought up Rico,
both Casino Royales had Easter egg casting. That's the funny thing.
Since you guys brought up Rico Browning, which we did, I checked his filmography and was delighted to say that the two other projects he worked on, Eric, he was the underwater action coordinator, and like
I couldn't remember who the hell he was. So
yeah. Okay. He directed the underwater scenes in Never Say Never Again.
Oh, okay.
And also, Eric, Police Academy 5, Assignment, Miami Beach.
As we talked about, the Police Academy movies very Bond-esque with their set pieces that they would end
and their
on.
posters. Yeah, their posters.
Like, what are they doing this time?
I guess there's a blimp. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay, that's wonderful. I mean, okay. I honestly think Police Academy 3 like introduced me to jet skis. It was such a central set piece at the end of the movie. Mahoney's on jet ski. Holy shit. And also Mahoney had like a Mahoney girl each movie, like a Bond girl. It was very Bond.
Have we ranked the Mahoney girls?
Cottrell and Stone. I mean, come on.
Tim writes in this week about You Only Live Twice. Tim, the first one I'm not going to mention because I'm going to bring it up. There was some book stuff with You Only Live Twice and Majesty's Secret Service I wanted to talk about, but not till we got to Majesty's Secret Service. So I'll talk about that when we do that movie, which is coming Monday. Second one is that Miyahama and Akiko Wakabayashi, who are the two Toho actress leads, they had already worked together in two Toho films. They were both in King Kong versus Godzilla and the comedic spy film International Secret Police Key of Keys. I know one of those movies. I don't know the second one.
Yeah, I actually love King Kong. The original King Kong versus Godzilla was like all the Godzilla movies, would play on like Sunday afternoons growing up in syndication. King Kong versus Godzilla definitely has a comic book loving kid. I'm like, what? They're fighting? Amazing. So I watched that one quite a bit.
The one that I did not know and I didn't realize because I should have maybe recognized him, but this ties into our We Enjoy Wrestling, the previous incarnation of this podcast, is that the henchman that Bond fights in Akato Chemicals, which is the driver that he gets in the car with, but then has that big fight with him in the office.
Yes,
is Peter Maivia, The Rock's grandfather.
Oh shit.
So
Oh,
that was High Chief Peter Maivia.
oh, that's
And
cool.
all right, thank you, Tim. Um,
Is this the guy? This is the guy that we talked about where they're like picking up the furniture and shit. Like,
yes,
yeah,
like
yeah,
throwing couches and hitting. Yeah.
yes. I like that scene.
Brian writes in, I love you guys. Your podcast
Oh.
brightens my day, but please, I listen to you guys so I can avoid the disingenuous, uninformed, fake Twitter outrage discourse. Right?
But that's
That's what that's there's almost a Debbie Downer element to it, Eric, when I wish you, if we did do YouTube videos where that you would look at the camera when like, hey, this trailer just dropped, it looks awesome, and you're like, wait a minute, but this is what the internet's saying, and I'm
it's
like,
the worst
no.
thing ever.
Don't tell me about it. I don't know about it.
Did you know that there's never been anything as bad as this
Yeah.
in your life?
Apparently it's the worst thing that's happened in the course of human events.
Yes.
So Scott writes in, hey Matt and Eric, I'm catching up on the Bond series. Just finished Goldfinger, but I have a question about the credits. I've noticed that these movies almost immediately end at the last scene. It's jarring compared to the 10 plus minutes of credits we get nowadays. Do you guys have any info about the history of credits and when they got so extensive?
Um,
Yes, we have a general idea of why and when it became standard, which was the 70s, but it had to do with union contracts. And you would basically get a couple dozen people listed as working on the movies, but then everyone's contracts with the union stated that everyone got credit.
yes.
So yes, everyone. So instead of only having to feature 30 names, you had to feature 300 names, and they couldn't do that at the start. So they got flipped to the end.
Yeah, I mean the Bond movies are unusual for their era only because they do have the longer cast lists at the end, so there is brief closing credits. A lot of movies of those era, of that era, just say the end, and
Yeah.
that's it. Because the opening credits have more than ours do now because they have stuff like the some of the credit block stuff that goes at the very end, copyright stuff that we'd see at the very end of the credits now. But then at the end, there's nothing left to do unless you do a longer cast list. And then, yeah, in the early 70s, it was like, because, yeah, these movies were not being made with crews of 30 people.
Right.
They just
And
weren't listing all that.
contractually, everyone started to get credit. And
Mhm.
so if you rearrange the cucumber slices and craft, your name gets in the movie. So everyone gets. Also, there was it was important for people to get credit with the decline of the studio system because they needed to like be able to be hired out by anybody because they didn't have guaranteed work all the time. So
Yeah.
they basically, it's like it was almost like LinkedIn for back then. Like you had to have your resume, and by your resume was getting listed in movies. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, I very much support this. As someone who always was a credits watcher, even before the promise of
Mo Henry. Yeah.
possible scenes, just kind of like to kind of like have that little moment of sitting, pondering, thinking, and having the wow, look at all these people that worked on this movie. Hey, I respect that all these people should get credit. They all worked on the movie, but also as someone who goes to a lot of revival screenings and whatnot, yeah, sometime in the early 70s, you see the swap happen. And suddenly these movies now have a full closing credits in the way that we expect them to today.
Mike writes in, Mike from Aurora, Illinois. Party
Wayne's
excellent.
World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Party
I'm
time,
so
excellent.
God.
All right.
I'm sorry because if you're from Aurora, Illinois,
That's
it's
you've been hearing that for the past 35 years, so
yes,
whatever.
yes.
Get over it. Okay, so I mean it put Aurora on the map, didn't it? Did it not? For us anyway. For
Sure,
non-Aurorans, it
sure.
put it on the map. Hello, Matt and Eric. With your breakout episode about Scream 7 and general discussion of Scream, I was wondering if either of you have read Ashley Cullen's book, Your Favorite Scary Movie. I read it in the lead up to Scream 7 earlier this year and thought it was fantastic. It basically goes through the making of all Scream movies and even a bit of the lead up to 7. Have you
I've
read it?
heard much about this, but I've not read that book.
It sounds like
Sure.
something you do, but not me. But yeah, so I was wondering if you read it, Eric.
No, I'm currently slowly, not because it's bad, just because I doing other stuff, reading a book about the making of Friday 13th. That is focused on Blairstown, where I visited a few years ago. But that on location in Blairstown, that's what I'm reading. The making of Friday 13th. But I would like to read that Scream book as well because that is very much up my alley.
All right. Speaking of up your alley, do you have any recommendations, Eric?
I do. One I forgot to mention last week, actually,
Mm.
and at least here in LA, it's still in limited release. I'm imagining it'll be on digital in the not too distant future, though, which is Nirvana, the band, the
Oh
show,
God.
the movie. Do you know anything about this, Matt?
I've seen the trailer a handful of times. It was like a Draft House recommends spotlight trailer that would show a
Okay.
lot. I could glean sort of what they were going for, because not only did they show the trailer, which shows sort of one storyline, but before that, a few weeks before that, they showed like a full scene where a guy got shrunk down to a tiny size. So I was like, oh, this is a crazy movie.
Wait,
Yeah,
does a guy get shrunk down to tiny size in that movie?
I don't know if it's in the movie or if it's just from these two guys.
I
Like
think it
this,
might be
maybe
from
they
the
made a separate sketch or
show.
something.
So that's the
Oh,
thing.
okay,
It's
that's
like,
what it was.
I
There
knew
we go.
nothing. I didn't see. I never once saw the
I
trailer.
was wondering how the tiny guy fit into the trailer I saw, because it didn't seem like it could.
I never saw the trailer, never knew anything about it till it was out, and then I was seeing this crazy title and hearing people say this is a good, funny movie. So I went to see it, with knowing nothing except
Sure.
that at
And
Alamo.
the title doesn't help you purposely, but
No,
yes.
I went to see it at Alamo Draft House, which I actually was glad I did because their pre-show for this movie had a full explainer about what the deal was.
Oh wow, okay.
There was both a little mini like here's the backstory about the fact that these two guys, Nirvana the band, the show was a web series in 2007 that then came back as a TV series in 2017, and that this is the
Both
movie.
times escaping my my view completely.
Oh, 100% completely too. And so they both show you full clips from the show, but then they also do this little mini doc that kind of explained the deal with all of this, leading into the motion picture that we're about to see, based on all of this with these two guys, Matt Johnson and Jay McCarroll, who also they wrote it together. Matt Johnson directed it, and that the shtick of it, from what I gather, again, I've never seen the show, but I've seen these clips now. It's like a cartoon almost. It's like Pinky and the Brain, because it's about two guys living in Toronto who are like our band, who we're calling Nirvana the band. We're going to make it big. We're going to make it big specifically by getting to play our local club. And each episode is like a wacky scheme. How can we get this club to let us play? And like
sounds like an episode of the Grungies.
it's the wacky hijinks that ensue from these two guys. It's a classic sort of funny duo. One guy, both kind of dumb, but one's the really dumb guy who's the schemer, comes up with the schemes. It's very pop culture. It's very like, them playing video games and, movie reference and whatnot. But it's very funny. It's very Canadian. And I really liked this movie, not having any of this history. And my history being I just watched a few segment clips in the pre-show. But it is very fun. The movie's conceit being, and obviously it would have more impact if you're a longtime fan, but it still worked for me. The movie's conceit is it's a Back to the Future riff, which they very openly acknowledge, of them going back in time to 2007 and using footage from their web series of them trying to avoid themselves and stuff. Like it's Back to the Future 2 and then accidentally changing the future, which is to say changing the present by what they do. And when they go back and what the alternate version of the 2025, when the movie is set, what's happening. Anyway, it's the two guys are, again, my introduction to them, but I like them a lot. You kind of quickly understand the dynamic between them. I didn't think it was like, I wasn't like cracking up through the whole movie, like I'd seen some people say. But I had several big laughs, and I had a lot of gentle laughs. I was like,
that's fine too.
Yeah, I
also
like
a movie can be hilarious, and you don't have to like laugh uproariously for like a comedy. Anyway,
yeah, but I did have a few times. There's one moment in particular that is so freaking funny, an amazing moment that that happens in this movie. But I liked it all. It made me want to go back and watch it. And I thought, even not having that history, the way that they were obviously using the old footage of them back then, and using, intercutting and also using body doubles to play the younger them, was all really fun and clever. So I quite like this movie. Like I said, it is still in theaters, but probably not that many theaters. But if you can catch it in theaters, I recommend it. If not, I'm guessing it'll be on digital in the next few weeks.
But go back and watch everything previous so you can get the jokes Eric didn't get.
Yes. Oh, by the way, I guess because it's called, Nirvana. It is acknowledged again. I know this from a clip that they're called Nirvana the band and that there's another, that name is notable. But I guess originally they didn't even add the second N to Nirvana, and there was some legal issues, so they had to add the second N they have in there. But anyway, good stuff. You should.
There was one of my baristas when I was managing coffee shops had a band called Dios, and they got sued by Ronnie James Dio. Even though they were Dios, which is just a word, right? Like,
yeah.
So they had to change their name to Dios Malos. Anyway, so
copyright, man, it's funky.
It's crazy. And Dio's crazy about that stuff too. All those old like Kiss era rockers are like they're with their merch and their rights and stuff.
Oh yeah.
So my recommendations are one. I guess I'm not like everyone needs to see these movies because these are weird and in this case of the second one, very polarizing. So I watched the first Jane Schoenbrunn movie, which is called We're All Going to the World's Fair. They did. I saw the TV Glow, which was one of my favorite movies of 2 years ago. And this is the first movie they did called We're All Going to the World's Fair. It's a much smaller film, and it's really cool. And it's just, again, more trans allegory, more sort of like isolation and gender dysmorphia, but like in the context of an isolated teenager named Casey, who starts doing an online internet challenge that is supposed to have supernatural consequences, and says that she will document her changes over the course of the next few weeks, and it's around Christmas time. Anyway, I really enjoyed it. It is a small film, and it's the first in Schoenbrunn's Screen trilogy, which is now capping off with. So this is like what I like about Schoenbrunn is they are not on a Minari to Twisters track, which is like they're still making small films that do grow with each subsequent film, but not at this alarming leap, right, to like massive studio film. Because you do We're All Going to the World's Fair, then you can get something like I Saw the TV Glow, which is a bigger movie, and you can get Fred Durst to play the dad, who's just down for these indie movies sometimes. To Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma, which comes out this summer, which has Hannah Einbinder and Gillian Anderson in it, right? Which will cap off the Screen trilogy. The Screen trilogy is basically internet TV movies, and so the third one is about a movie. Anyway, I recommend it. I had to rent it. You can't really.
What if Jane Schoenbrunn is announced for like Jurassic World 8?
that's the thing, but that's the track, right?
Right,
Isn't
right.
It like
Yes.
sounds like it sounds like a joke from the studio, but like it kind of isn't. The second movie is The Bride, which I very much enjoyed, and so The Bride is a movie that cost $80 million, and I could have told you ahead of time. It's one of those things where, man, I'm glad this movie got made, but who was thinking it was going to make this money? You know what I mean? Like, this movie had a shot at making back some of its money or more than its money if it played the Bride of Frankenstein story straight like a horror movie, like it's a new Universal monster reboot type thing. This is not that. This is very indulgent. It's very Baz Luhrmann. It's very it takes huge wild swings. It does a Bonnie and Clyde / Clarence in Alabama / Wild at Heart type story with Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein. It is surreal. It's meta, which I didn't expect because Jesse Buckley. There's also a Mary Shelley component to this movie that I wasn't expecting, but I was in on all of it. I just really loved it, and the production and the costumes and some musical numbers. And it is a very polarizing movie. And it's funny because we just also talked about Wuthering Heights earlier, which was another sort of like wild swing on a classic, right? Which is sort of like a different thing from a woman writer-director. You would think by Maggie Gyllenhaal having her husband and brother in the movie, she could have cut down on some of the costs, but no, it was an expensive movie regardless. Yeah, I very much enjoyed The Bride.
I wanted to enjoy The Bride more. It doesn't work for me. I do think of it as a admirable failure in that I admire the big swings this movie is taking, but I do think it's too much. I wish it had kind of scaled back. Like I actually really could have done without the Mary Shelley aspect of it, which I think muddles things too much. But yeah, I didn't hate it. There was things about it I liked. It just didn't work for me overall. And I am insulted when people say worst movie I ever seen. When I'm like, fucker, like The Strangers Chapter 3 opened this year. Like let's like have some goddamn
Worst movie they've
perspective.
ever seen.
Yeah,
Eric.
I get it, but they've seen 5 movies. Like, it's like
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah,
And
yeah.
people also catastrophize things a lot.
But also
For
because it's like I'd rather have a movie I don't think works like The Bride than like have everything be like sterile and we're not trying for anything. Yeah,
that's why I'm saying like it
yeah.
didn't add to my enjoyment. I'm like, oh man, it's so cool that they let her do this with this much money. I'm just so this is what I'll add too, and this helped me. And normally I don't like this. And when I talked about Scream 7, I mentioned how before they showed Scream 7 to our audience, they showed a behind the scenes of Scream 7, which ruined a moment from the movie for me. And I'm like, I don't need to play this after or something. I don't need to hear them introduce me to the world of Scream
Yeah,
or
yeah.
have Nev Campbell say, what's it like to be back in Scream after she was gone for one movie? This one had Maggie Gyllenhaal, when I saw it at Alamo, talk about the influences, the movies that influenced her when making The Bride and conceiving and writing The
And
Bride.
I've seen them do this. Like I remember there was one of these for Aziz Ansari. What was it called?
Good
Good.
Fortune.
Yeah, yeah, they did. They've done this before. They're like, here's the things I was thinking of when I made this movie. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I would like to see that. I wonder if it's
Mhm.
online. And I was sort of like, oh, I don't want to know this. I'm kind of like that. I get into my head with this
Yeah.
when she's doing this, but it helped me when she said Wild at Heart. I was like, oh, is this a weird movie? Is this going to be a David Lynch? Like that movie ends with the fucking
Yeah.
like Wizard of Oz shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, is that what we're going to see? Are there going to be like weird elements to this movie? And then when she started describing the other movies and the surrealist elements, it actually helped me. And I was like, oh, okay, this isn't going to just be, Badlands. This is going to be something different,
Hmm, hmm.
Okay, that's what I'll say. And
You
again,
remember?
Bride's not going to be in theaters much longer. So if you do want to see it in the theater,
Yes.
I recommend you go this weekend.
I
Yeah.
saw someone post, I can't even remember if it was a friend or just some random person posting a funny thing though about we talk all the time about audience confusion and how people who don't follow these things don't know like different superhero universes and all these things. So I saw at least one person post that their parent was assumed that The Bride was a quick sequel to Del Toro's Frankenstein. Like it's like, oh, this is the new franchise. Like, here we go. I also want to mention, as we were talking about the jump that directors make from like indies to like mega movies. I was like, and you mentioned the studio obviously sending up everything, but I was like, and what I was thinking of was when Barry had the director of Coda, Sian Heder. I don't know if I'm saying her name right. Do you remember when she played herself directing Mega Girls? I had to look up what the name of the
Oh
movie
God,
was,
I know I
but it
don't
was
remember
like,
this.
and it was like
Okay.
some female-led superhero thing. But it was like, yeah, and I thought that was very funny because
That's
it's
very
funny
funny.
because it's true.
It is. Um, yeah. So anyway, if you're interested in The Bride, I'd catch it in theaters. I don't think it'll land as well at home as I don't think anything truly does, but
I mean, yeah.
because
Look, the
I'm a
bride
mark.
is the
I'm a
bride,
theater mark. But yeah.
and the bride is yeah, very sort of visual spectacle. What I actually even said in my review of the bride is didn't work for me. This movie will absolutely have a cult following, which I won't be mad about. It's like, yeah, it's like this movie will find a following in as the years progress. I
I mean,
think.
there's a ton of like cosplay stuff going on that you
Absolutely.
could do, like
Hmm.
come Halloween if people remember this movie. When you like join a forum or a fan thing on if you're on Facebook or Discord, even like which is they like ask you a few questions. Like if it's a fan thing, they're like they
Hmm.
just sort of like weed out bullshitters and they ask you a few things and there's some preliminary questions to get approved to be in. We need that for the whole internet. We need anyone who needs is going to have internet access to have to answer simple Hollywood questions about how movies get made before they can comment about movies.
Agreed. Agreed.
All right, that's our news and news. We've got Honor Her Majesty's Secret Service up next coming Monday, and until then, everything is possible, but nothing is real and shocking.
Shockma.